Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for your wise guide. I beg to move. The National Transport and Safety Authority Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 43 of 2022, and may it be led for the second time. Mr. Speaker, I intend to move this bill as an amendment of the existing entire bill, especially on section 4 from A all the way to C, Mr. Speaker. Then, Mr. Speaker, if you look at section 4 of the National Transport and Safety Authority Bill, you find that there are some issues which are of concern to us, and hence leading to a request from this Honorable House to do some amendment. My amendment, Mr. Speaker, is to insert the following new subparagraphs, especially on A, whereby it reads, I propose it reads, regulation of 2 and 3-wheeled public motorcycles taxis. Mr. Speaker, at part AB, I propose, Mr. Speaker, to establish a system and procedure for the regional registration and licensing of 2 and 3-wheeled public motorcycles or taxis. Mr. Speaker, if you go to section AC, I propose to establish a systems and procedures for the registration and licensing of drivers of 2 and 3-wheeled public motorcycles taxis by county government in conjunction with the authority. Mr. Speaker, I proceed to AB, where my proposal is to issue public service vehicles badges to drivers of 2 and 3-wheeled public motorcycles or taxis. Mr. Speaker, I end by SE, whereby I propose to have a regulate 2 and 3-wheeled public service motorcycles or taxi. Mr. Speaker, you find that long ago, motorcycles and 3-wheeler, which now we call tuk-tuk, was not in high demand sometimes back. But if you look at the current mood of the transport, you find that, as I stand here, Mr. Speaker, over 200 million motorbikes and tuk-tuks are operating in this world, led by Thailand, Vietnam, and Indonesia, and hence Kenya and the region. Mr. Speaker, you note the speed growth of the same trend, peaking, for instance, Thailand, which is in Eastern, and you know Africa copies a lot of on Eastern behavior. They have a population of 71 million people, whereby 87%, Mr. Speaker, are using motorbikes. Hence, this is like 43 million people using motorbike in that country. And if you come back now home to Kenya, you find that Kenya is just only 2% with about 5 million motorbikes, and hence it is not controllable. So, Mr. Speaker, my assumption is, when we reach like 10 million, will there be order, will there be soberness if we have not put light procedure, light control, and even light measures? Remember, Mr. Speaker, not long ago, motorbikes were not used as taxis. Tuk-tuks were not used as taxi before, so there was control. But you see, it has become like the mode of communication as far as mobility in our road is concerned. If the government or us are not aggressive on coming up with new and better legislation to manage the same menace, I think, Mr. Speaker, we will lose track. I know the government is trying to come up with the modalities of managing the same, but I think the speed on which the motorbikes are registered and they are put on our road is not in tandem. Mr. Speaker, if you look at, maybe one would pose a question, should we do away with this motorbike menace, or what should be the way forward? Then I come to the Kenya Bureaus of Statistics, especially when they conducted a survey in 2019. They came up with the following. It was noted that the motorbike sector and tuk-tuk are generating over $1 billion for the economy of this country. So it's not something to put aside. If you go back to the same statistics, Mr. Speaker, you find that this $1 billion put on the GDP, it is generating about 3.4% of the national GDP. So you can see how this sector is growing. And it is just close to the education sector, Mr. Speaker, which stands at 3.8, and you know how old the education sector is. So if there is no stopgap measure on the control of boda and Ruiru, I think we will lose the track. Having said that, the other discomforting areas, Mr. Speaker, is the health sector. Many of our national hospitals, even the local hospitals, have set aside wards of health sectors, have put aside special units, if I can put that word that way, special units to manage the boda. It is a big concern. Even today, Mr. Speaker, when I was coming to this honorable house, there was an accident at Kasalani, and a body was lying there. And this is happening everywhere and anywhere in this country, and actually even the entire region. Kenya now being another country, Mr. Speaker, it's our time to come up with the regulations, come up with the modalities, come up with the systems, and even come up with like vocational training for the same. Because if the government does not take stand on this, I don't know who will do. Mr. Speaker, rather than just talking and leaving the matter open, I have tried to look on how maybe other people are doing it. And a good case study, Mr. Speaker, is Rwanda. Although Rwanda population is not like ours, they have come up with the regulations which are able to create some order or sanity, or as far as boda and tuk-tuk business on taxis. And remember, Mr. Speaker, I'm concentrating on taxis, whereby people are ferried using these tools and life is lost. Because those old days, these were just for cargo, kind of, but now it's a mode of transport and a mode of communication by the private sector and including the government itself, Mr. Speaker. Because if you look at our chiefs, they have been bought motorbikes. If you look at the Kenya Power, which is a government sector, they are using motorbikes and the like. So it's something which is here to stay and here to work with ourselves. So I have noted, Mr. Speaker, in some localities, like the county government level, they have come up with what I would call circles, whereby the motorbikes sector in that region are made to be in a circle where there can be control, especially because of insecurity. You know, Mr. Speaker, the same motorbikes, apart from accident, they are also being used for other bad things, especially ferrying illicit brews, and also this hard drug, Mr. Speaker, because these small tools can close everywhere in this country. So, Mr. Speaker, In other words, there are some modalities or measures which can be taken and lead to what I would call sanity or control. Mr. Speaker, long ago, there were times whereby the government could use different number plates to identify or even to control the movement of vehicles and even understanding who is where and what is this person doing. I don't want to dwell on maybe coming up with number plates alone, but it can also lead to order, especially through circle, because if you put numbers which can lead to identifying the movement and the behavior of the tuk-tuk riders and motorcycle riders, I think we can be leading to what I would call a happy ending. Mr. Speaker, not forgetting that the economy also needs to grow, and we need to work with everybody in the same economy. And if you go to the growth of the same economy, Mr. Speaker, it's also good to note that with the consumption of petroleum and maybe gas, the same border is put like at an average of 300 shillings per day to the exchequer. And if you convert this to tax, the data shows that about 60 billion annually revenue can come from, or it's coming, or the government is generating about 60 billion from border and tuk-tuk sector as a revenue. And instead of losing this revenue, Mr. Speaker, I think it's a high time we come to what I would call order, whereby the sector can be learned professionally. How can this be learned professionally? Mr. Speaker, it's for this government and us to come up with new and better regulations, real-time regulations, which can adhere to the happening of the day, and even be segmented all the way down to the county level, where now in totality we can have a total control, and this now become a better or favorable income generating procedure, especially as far as these young people are concerned. Mr. Speaker, I think also because of lack of employment, our students after class form 4, they just rush to Boda, where they can get earning for their livelihood. But if the national government, Mr. Speaker, can come up with maybe a vocational center in the entire county, may it be started by county at county level, whereby each and every county we can come up with a vocational center where our border riders can undertake short courses which can improve the standard of usage of the same machine. Mr. Speaker, that one can lead to a positive growth. Then, at the same time, we need also to come up with the workshops at the county level, because even maintaining and managing these borders, Mr. Speaker, is leading to high level of accidents. Even if a rider is a good rider, and then the motorbike is not repaired promptly or regularly, then the same can also lead to this monarch of accident and bad behavior. Mr. Speaker, it has become a culture of riding motorbikes, so the culture is not going away. It is for us as the government to come up with new regulations which can manage the same. Mr. Speaker, because I know maybe there are members who would wish to share or contribute on this, I want to stop there and maybe request Honorable Haika, the Chair, Diaspora and Immigrant Workers, second. Thank you.
Honorable Haika.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
I stand to support the amendment as proposed by Honorable Member, and